Admittedly, I was a lousy high school student. I was a lousy university student who ended up with 2 degrees. I have a degree in psychology and I have a degree in sociology. I don't even know what that is. The psychology one has served me well as a professional hockey coach, amateur hockey coach, and entrepreneur, and as a husband and father. But it's an interesting story. The only reason that I have 2 degrees and the only reason that I graduated from university was because I trained myself at an early age to sell my way through life. I am a proud and unabashed salesman. It is the number one skill that I have as a father, as a husband, as an entrepreneur, as a sports coach, is the ability for me to sell my way through life. It's a skill and a passion and an obsession that I've developed over the last 31 years in business. I started with lemonade stands and window washing companies at a very young age. I started with garage sales at the end of the driveway, selling my mom's cookware and pots and pans without her permission. I've been selling ever since I was 12 years old. I've had a passion and obsession for business like my father, but I've had a passion and obsession for selling more than anything else. My mind has been focused on selling and entrepreneurship since age 12. How can we do this better? I can run a tennis camp, I would do it better. If I run a hockey school, I could do it better. If I was running a window washing company, I could do it better. If I was running a video store back in the day, I could do it better. If I was running a restaurant, here's what I would do. I've got the dreamer's disease like my father and grandfather, and I am a proud and unabashed salesman, and I have been inflicted with this disease since age 12. It has served me to build a 7-figure annual income, an 8-figure net worth. My ability to sell my way through life is the number one reason that I have been able to build the personal sovereignty championship world of my dreams. Nothing has been more important. And I used this skill in university. I was in my 5th year at Laurentian University up north. The reason I was going to Laurentian, it had nothing to do with the academic standards. The reason I picked Laurentian University is I had a job offered to me to coach the Junior A hockey team there. So for the 5 years I was there, when my friends were working at Wendy's and Subway and the local pub to make ends meet, I was driving my own car and being paid $30,000, which going back, 25 years ago is a lot of money to coach the Junior A team full time. I started as an assistant coach, and then I took on the job of head coach when the head coach was fired. So I had a full-time position when I was still a full-time university student. So admittedly, school took a back seat. I mean, my dream since I was 19 was to coach in the National Hockey League. I wanted to be a hockey coach. That's what I discovered that I wanted to do and be. So I was balls to the wall in that direction. My safety net, if you want to call it that, or my plan B, because I burned the boats when it came to coaching hockey. I was putting in 80, 90 hours a week with the team, and it was my full-time job. But it was interesting. I was still a full-time student in psychology and sociology. I was taking some history courses, some math courses. 15 hours a week is all it was in the general arts program. But I literally went months and months without ever even going to campus. I never attended any classes in my 4th and 5th years. I would hand select classes and courses where there was a written component, an essay or something that was like 40% of the final grade. So I could work on this essay, I could write this paper, and because it was 40% of the grade, I could get an A++, because I could always write. And then on the exam, I would shoot for a 50 and I'd get my credit. But to make a long story short, in my final year, I got my report card, my university report at Christmas time. And actually it was at the end of the year. I just completed coaching the team, and I got my final report card just before final exams. And it said that there was a bunch of classes on my record that I had like 48. They graded out of 100 then. That's how they graded when I was back in university. You got 89 or 79 or whatever. And I had 3 courses that I got a final grade on. I guess it was after exams. And I got a 49 in one course, and I got like a 47 and a 43. So 3 courses that I had failed, and I needed 2 courses to graduate with my 2 degrees. So here I am in my 5th year of university. I'm 6 hours away from home. I'm done coaching hockey there. I've coached there for 5 years. I've got my first professional hockey assistant coaching job waiting for me when I graduate in a completely different city. I'm 25 years old. I'm 24 years old. And I'm like, man, I don't want to come back to this city. I don't want to come back for 2 credits. I want to graduate, and I want to take I want to be able to accept that first job in pro hockey. So this is where salesmanship comes in, where 99.9% of other people would have said, oh, well, it didn't work out. It is what it is. I got to come back, or I got to go to summer school, or there was no online at the time. I got to come back, and I have to stay here in the summer. I said, there's no way I'm doing that. I'm going to sell my way out of this situation. So the guy, Dan Hurley, who was the owner of the team that I coached, one of the most influential men in my life, the only man on planet Earth that I ever feared in my entire life. Honest to God, the only guy I ever feared. Hardcore whiskey drinking, multi-million-dollar nickel miner. Dug the nickel out of the ground, steel toe boots and a shirt and tie every day. And he was the owner of my team that I coached. And he took me under his wing for 4 years. And I remember him telling me one time, he goes, Michael, the dean of Laurentian, he says, is one of my best friends. And of course they're best friends, right? They're all in business, the whole thing. They're all buddies from the same school. And so I go to see Dan, and I said, listen, I didn't graduate after 5 years. I'm still 2 courses shy. And he says, you want me to call Blackjack for you? And I was like, who's Blackjack? And he goes, that's Jack. He's the president of Laurentian University. He's the big guy. He's the top dog. And I said, sure. Because I was like, wow, he knows the school president. He says, go see him. And he said, pitch him on graduating. And I was like, okay, pitch him on what? And he said, tell him your situation. Tell him that you coach hockey for me for a time. He's a full-time. He's a former hockey guy. We played hockey together. And he says, pitch him on adjusting those marks or doing something to earn the grade so that you can graduate this June. So I said, can I do that? He's like, of course you can. You got to just sell them on your story. So he sets up a meeting, and I literally walk into the dean's office. I mean, this massive, massive oak on the walls, the whole thing right from a movie. And I sit down, and here I am in front of Blackjack, the president of the university. And I go right into my pitch. I go right into my story. I tell him about, it's like I'm on Shark Tank, where I go in and I was thinking, he's going to appreciate a story of entrepreneurship. He's going to appreciate a story of ambition. He's going to appreciate a story of sport. And sure enough, That was the recipe. So I start to tell him, I said, I've been coaching hockey full time for Mr. Hurley for 4 years. I said, and I use clear as kind. I said, I don't, this is plan B. The only reason I'm even here is because of hockey. I said, hockey has always been number one. I said, it's how I make my living. It's my dream. I said, I'm only in university because if hockey doesn't pan out, I want to be a phys ed teacher. I want to be a gym teacher. So he appreciated my candor. He said, and I told him the story. I said, I work like 70, 80 hours a week at the arena. I said, I'm traveling with the team. And I said, so, my priority is my job in hockey. And I said, I have these 3 classes. I got a 49, a 46, and a 43, I think. And I said, what can I do to, whether it's additional work, whether it's taking an extra exam, a test, writing a paper, what can I do to get these grades to 50? I don't want to come back for summer school. I don't want to come back here for a year. I told them I had a pro job waiting for me. I said, my dream's right in front of me, but you know what? I messed up and I should have taken these courses more seriously, but what can I do? And it's amazing when you're honest and you're straightforward and you tell a story. He said to me, he goes, Michael, here's what you have to do. He said, he says, I'm not doing it for you. I'm not going to adjust your marks for you. He said, but this is what I will do. He said, go see each of these professors individually, all 3 of them. And he says, make the exact pitch that you just made with me. Tell them that exact story, how you're in hockey, you're working 70, 80 hours a week, how you're whatever, and just tell them. And then ask them the same question. What is there that I can do extra to help me get to a 50% grade so that I can graduate and I can move on with my life? And I said, okay. I said, I will. So over the course of the next few days, I went and I saw each of these 3 professors individually. I waited to the end of class. I went to their office and I knocked on their door and I walked in, and they barely knew me, right? They're like, they'd never seen me before because I never attended hardly any classes. They just knew me from my papers and essays. And I sat down with the first guy and I told my story and I told him what I was doing, and I told him, I was willing to do extra work now that the hockey season was over. And he said to me, he goes, well, you can write an essay. I'll grade it. If you get, above 80%, he says, I'll turn your mark of 49 to 50 and you've got the credit. So I agreed to do that, and I did do that. I wrote the exam or the essay, and he marked it, and I got like an 83, and boom, I knew the content. He gave me a 50. So that was one of the 2 I needed. I went to see the second professor, and this guy, he wouldn't know a football from a hockey puck, and the story didn't resonate with him. Hockey didn't resonate with him. He was one of these fuzzy-headed academics who had never left the campus, and entrepreneurship certainly didn't resonate with him at all. And he turned me down flat after I just kept, he had to ask me to leave his office. I was like, come on, I can. But anyways, he gave me the gym camp no. And then I was like, okay, I got one shot. I got to swing for the fences on this. I literally have one shot. If I don't sell this next professor, I'm going to be back here for summer school, or I'm going to be here next year chipping away at another class. So I went in there, guns a-blazing. I prepared the night before. I had my story down. I had my pitch down, just like I was selling a car or selling anything else. And I walked in there and I just nailed it. I told them my story. I told them my dream. I told them the hours I was working. And then I said, I'll do whatever it takes for you to adjust my mark from 43 to 50 or something. That was a big one. Like, that's 7 points. And I was able to sell this professor. He did the same thing. He goes, Michael, he says, I'll give you a private exam in here It'll be supervised. He goes, I'll give you 72 hours to prepare, which I did. And he said, and if you get a grade of whatever it was, 70% or better, he says, I'll adjust your mark to 50. So I returned home. I busted my ass for 72 hours. I studied that subject inside and out. I went there. I wrote the exam privately. It was supervised by a student tech or whatever. And I just cleaned it. I cleaned up. I got like 75 or 80. And my mark was adjusted to 50. And I remember walking into the dean's office, blackjack, and he said, I knew you could do it. He goes, I knew if you would tell your story and your entrepreneurship and your sports story and do the work. He said, I'll gladly sign your graduation. So that's how I turned 3 failing grades into my university graduation. With the power of salesmanship. It serves us in business, it serves us in life, it serves our children, it serves everything. Everything we do in life is salesmanship. And if you can't sell your way through life, if your children can't sell their way through life, you literally end up with the scraps in this world. You end up with the scraps in this world. If you look at the most powerful and successful people in this world, at the heart of it all, they're incredible salesmen and saleswomen. At the heart of it all, they're incredible salesmen and saleswomen who have sold their way to the top. I don't care, everybody from Oprah to Henry Ford to Carnegie to the great coaches, the Bobby Knights, the Scotty Bowmans. They're all incredible, outstanding salespeople. So I'll never forget, my parents came up for the June graduation. It was a gorgeous day. And when I walked across the stage, usually you shook hands with one of the vice presidents or whatever it was. I don't even know. They were people you didn't really know. And I'll never forget, Blackjack was sitting in his it was like a throne on the stage. And when my name was announced and I walked up onto the stage, he got up, he took the diploma from the person who was going to give it to me, and he handed it to me, and he shook my hand, one of the hardest handshakes in the world, just like Hurley. And he handed me that, and he winked at me, and he goes, I'll wish you good luck, he said, son, but he goes, I don't think you'll need it. And smiled, and off I went. And that's a story that I've told my daughter. That's a story that I've told Krista many times, selling your way through life. It's not just marketing. It's just not products. It's selling, selling your way into college, selling your way into university, selling your way to other people, influencing other people, selling your ideas, selling your charitable ideas, selling your, how you're going to help, getting people to donate money to charities and community fundraisers. Just everything and everything. How do you think you recruit hockey players? Selling. Nick Saban, top salesman. Bobby Knight, top salesman, all these great recruiters, all these great coaches, all these great entrepreneurs are all amazing salespeople. That's one of the reasons that with my daughter is whenever she asks me a question, like she'll say to me in the vehicle, we're driving home from school or skating, and she'll say, Daddy, can I have some gum? And I'll stop and I'll say to Emery, she's in the back seat, I'll say, I'm indifferent to it. Sell me on the idea. And literally this 10-year-old kid now will go into a pitch. And she's not just talking out of her ass. Like she knows, she's got it. What's in it for him? What's in it for him? And she will literally pitch this way, buddy. She will literally pitch me on this stuff, on why, I should give her a piece of gum or whatever it is. It's just an amazing pitch. And I stop myself as a father, and I just constantly am saying, sell me on that idea. Sell me on that idea. Daddy, I want to, and Krista sends her to see me all the time because I'm the no guy, right? I'm the Jim Camp of the family. I'm like, no. So whenever there's something that's a 50-50 ball, Krista will send her up to see me, Daddy, can I stay after school, or can I go to this sleepover? I got hockey the next day. And then she's got to pitch me on the idea. And sometimes I'm like, nope, you didn't sell me on the idea. No. And then other times I'm like, that's a good pitch. And from my perspective, that sounds right. And, then the answer is yes. So getting our kids to get to the yes is something that I enjoy doing with Emery, is sell me on it, sweetheart, sell me on it. And this is going to serve her well going into her life. She's going to have that ability to work anywhere in the world, in any economy, at any time, and she's going to always be able to sell. If she gets herself in a situation where she needs immediate money, or she loses money, or there's a down economy, she's always going to have that number one skill of production. What is peace of mind? The ability to produce. That is number one peace of mind. You can sleep at night knowing that if you lost everything, the next day you could be up, producing, selling, and making money. That's ultimate peace of mind. My dad and my grandfather, they gifted me with that, and now I'm working on gifting my daughter with that mindset of selling your way through life. Talk about selling your way through life. You can apply. You still have a handful of days to apply to join my new World Builders Mastermind. Go to badassworldbuilders.com, fill out the 5-question application, pay your $97 deposit, and you will be joined at the hip with yours relentless and 49 other brothers for the entire calendar year 2023. And trust me, I am going to be showing you every single month, every couple of weeks, how to sell your way through 2023. The cost is irrelevant because I'm going to be showing you ways from email marketing to, offline and online, different ways to market your products and yourself, ways to sell your way through life. And that part's going to be invaluable for you. You'll be 2xing, 3xing, even 5xing your world over the next 12 months, but you got to apply now. badassworldbuilders.com. Do what I do every single day when you get home. Make sure you tell your children and your wife how much you love them. Man, oh man, nothing more important than that in today's world. That's your anchor, that's your centering. You have older children, you have teenagers and adult children, and it seems like they're not listening or they're not interested. Don't fall for that bullshit. Be an ally. Stick your nose in their business. Know who their friends are. Know who their enemies are. Know who's drinking. Know who's using drugs. Know their friends. Know their bad friends, associates. Know the troublemakers. Just stick your nose in their business. Know what's going on. Know what's popular. Know what's happening. Just be there. 2 words, be there. And TIM, how do you spell love? Time. TIME, how do you spell love? Find ways to spend more time with your queen. Find ways to spend more time with your children. That's it for today. 2 words that changed my life. Remember to keep selling your way through yours. Nothing more powerful than the skill of salesmanship. 2 words that changed my life, 2 words that'll change yours. Be relentless.